Good morning, everybody, and welcome back to VG Myths, the online internet video game TV show that is beyond parody. Super Mario Bros. Wonder is a new 2D Mario, so naturally I'll be jumping on the bandwagon with the simplest, easiest, laziest challenge run possible. Can you? No, you can't. The end. I'm done. Wow, that was lazy. To be extremely clear out of the gate, even at the time I started this run, I expected it to be no way, no how, explicitly impossible, at least with our current knowledge of the game. If you came to this video just to find out if it's possible, congratulations, I just saved you an hour, doors over there. But I personally don't care if it's possible. The only way to know for sure is to do it. Can you beat Super Mario Bros. Wonder without collecting coins? The rules are simple. We must beat the game by defeating Bowser without collecting a single coin. Given this is literally impossible, we'll also be going for a bonus challenge to keep things interesting, collecting the maximum possible number of coinless Wonder Seeds. We can thankfully very easily track with absolute certainty our current collected coin count with the counters in the upper left of the screen. If a coin is accidentally collected, that level attempt is void. You'll have to either restart level, which very politely resets the game state to what it was at the beginning of that life, or in scenarios where that's not possible, close the game entirely before it has the chance to save. And yes, before you ask, a flower coin is a coin. Additionally, an important note, some player characters are not equal to others. The Yoshis and Nabbit are explicitly delineated from the rest of the cast and generally considered something of an easy mode. These characters aren't fully banned, but any use of them will be considered a demerit. You unfortunately will not be able to achieve an A rank if you use Yoshi. With the rules set, let's get this run started. After selecting the only moral character, we head into a quick and easy coinless tutorial level followed by the quick and easy first true level, Welcome to the Flower Kingdom. Just beating the level isn't enough though, thanks to the previously mentioned bonus challenge collectible Wonder Seeds. We won't be actively going for the bonus challenge in the early game since many of these seeds will either be more difficult or outright impossible without later power-ups. We can't be that picky though. Specific levels on the main path can only be played by collecting a certain number of that world's Wonder Seeds, making them semi-required for progression. Every standard platforming level has at least 2 seeds, one for reaching the main exit and one for completing the challenge presented by that level's Wonder Flower, which morphs the game in unique ways. The Wonder Flower in this first level just makes the environment wiggle around a bit, so coin dodging is still incredibly easy, except for the mini flower coins that exist only during Wonder Mode, and which form a spinning wall around this Wonder's seed. But hold on one second, pay close attention to what happens when a mini coin is collected. Our flower coin counter goes up in the decimal digit by 0.1. If we exit Wonder Mode having only collected 0.9 total flower coins, the number rounds down to 0, effectively erasing the mini coins from our inventory. Knowing this, we do a crouch jump with precise timing, narrowly squeezing between to grab the seed because there will be no semantic shenanigans. A coin is a coin. A flower coin is a coin. A mini flower coin is a coin. A big flower coin is a coin. A power-up that converts itself into a flower coin is a coin. A coin obtained on the world map is a coin. A coin given by Captain Toad is a coin. And Henry will be sleeping fine tonight. The moment the Wonder Seed is collected, all mini coins despawn instantly, letting us fall safely and fully complete the first level coinless with 2 out of 2 Wonder Seeds. On to level 2, Piranha Plants on Parade. Before even encountering the Wonder Flower, we're presented with a tricky situation. Every one of these note blocks contains a coin, and said coins are automatically collected if you walk on them. The mid-air blocks also contain coins, limiting our jump height. Thankfully, while it's a super tight squeeze, if you get a running start, do a medium height crouch jump, and perform 2 properly timed mid-air spins, you can thread the needle above and below every coin. We will not be grabbing the Wonder Flower. This stage's wonder places a line of mini coins along a thin hallway, essentially blocking progression. Outside the wonder, these coins do not exist. Be careful to jump over the final line of note blocks, which also contain coins, and finish the level with 1 out of 3 Wonder Seeds. Similarly, the third level, Scram Skedaddlers, is easy to beat normally, but we won't be going for the wonder. This one gives us the Star power-up, which magnetizes nearby coins, and of course, there are coins along the path that fall within the magnet's radius no matter which way we try to squeeze. We finish with 1 out of 2 seeds. Getting this far opens the first mini-hub area with a variety of levels to tackle and rewards us with our first badge, the Parachute Cap. If you're unfamiliar, one badge can be equipped at a time, and badges give the player certain bonus attributes, the best of which providing new moves in our moveset. The Parachute Cap, which slows your descent in midair, is one of the best for coinless. See Break Time Hurry Hurry. The coins we're expected to run through all conveniently have 1 block's worth of empty space in between. Landing in these spaces would normally be incredibly difficult, but the Parachute Cap's slowed descent makes it manageable, and thus this level's lone Wonder Seed obtainable. In addition to descension, the Parachute Cap excels at ascension. Heading back into Piranha Plants on Parade, that line of note blocks we previously had to do a tricky jump across is now a joke. This still isn't enough to get us through this level's wonder, but there's a secret exit above this section of land. A normal player would go here after the wonder, which spawns a pipe usable as a platform. The Parachute Cap wall jump makes that pipe optional. Secret exits have their own unique Wonder Seeds, upping our count for this level to 2 out of 3. We're already encountering some seeds which are definitely, truly, no way, no how, impossible. Most obviously, every world contains at least one shop literally selling a Wonder Seed, and in a shocking twist, the only currency they accept is currency. There's also a Poplin running a scam to the north, refusing to move a curiously placed rock out of your way until you slip him a few flower coins. Since it's impossible to own coins without collecting coins, this bribe is impossible, and thus all Wonder Seeds in the mini-hub past this point are likewise impossible. Additionally, some level seeds require the collection of Wonder Tokens. Wonder Tokens are very explicitly not coins, and anybody who says they're coins is wrong and evil. However, since the Strem chat pointed out they do look kinda coiny, I'm gonna sidestep the semantics for now and continue the game without Wonder Tokens as long as I can get away with. In Bull Rush coming through, keep in mind tall mushroom enemies are legally Koopa shells when jumped on, and thus will collect any coins they touch while expiring. If you let them live, the main exit seed is easy. But the Wonder Flower Seed and the secret exit seed locked behind it are incredibly scary, tasking the player with riding on top of a herd of Bull Rush while mini flower coins rain down. Luckily, this is only difficult if you're good at video games. If you are, instead, bad at video games, you'll fall behind the Bull Rush safe from the rain of coins. The Bull Rush will pity you and lag behind, keeping the trek at a leisurely pace. The rest of the level and the 2 Wonder Seeds locked behind it are easy, letting us fully clear with 3 out of 3 seeds. Here Come the Hoppos is easy, save for a minor note on the wonder. The Hoppos carry trails of mini coins which you can detach by bouncing on the Hoppo. Be patient for them to despawn and you can clear with 2 out of 2 seeds. The rest of the seeds necessary to open the next gate and the palace behind it can likewise be obtained with little effort. That all includes fully completing Wiggler Race Mountaineering for 1 seed, Badge Challenge Wall Climb Jump 1 for 1 seed and the new Wall Climb Jump badge, and KO Arena Pipe Rock Rumble for 1 seed. As I hope you're getting used to, clearing this KO arena and all other KO arenas without the flower coin rewards for fast time requires being bad at video games. We now have exactly 14 Wonder Seeds, the amount necessary to unlock the Pipe Rock Plateau Palace. Within is a tricky line of coins immediately below a yellow flip block. While I've been told doing a crouch jump over these is possible, I found another strategy I'm more partial to. Head into the level with both an elephant and a fire flower. Hit the block with elephant, quickly shrink your hitbox with the fire flower, and squeeze through the opened gap. Bonk Budger on the head to bank your first royal seed and open the way to the Petal Isles. This brief trip to Unlocking World 2 is easy and includes 1 out of 1 freebie seeds from Angler Poplin's house, 1 out of 1 seeds and the Dolphin Kick badge from its first badge challenge, 2 out of 2 seeds from Robert Cove, and 1 out of 2 seeds from Bluebird Roost. The Dolphin Kick badge is highly recommended on most water levels going forward, and not just for its speed, but for its secret secondary mechanic. Dolphin Kicks send the player moving in a straight line, briefly ignoring gravity, thus making underwater coin dodging consistent as you can always be confident precisely where your hitbox lies. Within World 2, Fluff Puff Peaks, we quickly grab 1 out of 1 freebie seeds and move into Outmaway Valley. I absolutely must give a shout out to the Wonder and Secret exit where the stage starts rolling under you as coins approach. There's multiple plot twists along the way with seemingly impossible coins just barely fleeing at the last second, and somehow I managed to reach the end first try, banking 3 out of 3 seeds. That gives the 4 seeds necessary to open a level blocking the main path con darts away. Reaching the exit will be tricky. When you get within range of a con dart, they dive in a straight line, hitting any blocks in their path. If they hit a coin block, that coin is legally yours. We'll have to either lure the con darts into hitting safe blocks or prevent them from hitting the blocks in the first place. By memorizing coin block locations and squeezing under con dart sight lines, we reach a big problem area. This downward drop ending with 2 con darts on opposite sides of 4 coin blocks. Squeezing past is a no-go since the left con dart will always see us, meaning we'll need to murder both con darts before they can hit the blocks. Bring in a fire flower and carefully clear out the upper con darts one by one. Once they and all the brick blocks are cleared out, perform wall jumps and shoot some properly timed fireballs below. Soon after are a couple con darts above trying to dive into coin blocks below. We can't run past without triggering the con darts, and the fire flower requires extreme precision. Instead, swap to Elephant and use its much more lenient melee attacks to swat each con dart away. I'm not even gonna bother attempting the Wonder in this level just yet, so we finished with 1 out of 2 seeds. Badge Challenge Floating High Jump 1 will require a few slightly precise jumps. I recommend intentionally staying as small toadette. The lower height helps with sneaking under coins. We finish with 1 out of 1 seeds and the new Floating High Jump badge. KO Arena Fluff Puff Kerfuff gives an easy 1 out of 1 seeds, then we head into Jump Jump Jump, which seems outlandishly difficult on first glance. A rhythm platforming challenge with rhythmically spawning and despawning blocks, plus coins that spawn in right on top of you. But there's a special trick we can use to cheese it. The coins aren't spawning based on the player's position, they're spawning based on a simple timer which roughly matches up with the player's expected position. The trick is, all rhythm blocks throughout the level are turning on and off in the same looping pattern, which means the active chunk of blocks the player is expected to be walking on isn't the only active chunk. If you enter the level with Bubble and do a spinning jump onto it, you can perform an easy semi-infinite bubble bounce combo. Spin jumps coincidentally automatically spit out bubbles with perfect timing on every bounce. It's only semi-infinite because you'll inevitably reach the top of the screen where continued bounces are unfeasible. That's fine though, we don't need to go that far, just far enough to get ahead of schedule and land on a later active chunk of rhythm blocks. Since the player isn't expected to be along this part of the path yet, none of the coins will be spawning in, making it near identical to a casual playthrough and allowing you to bank 2 out of 2 seeds. I was feeling a bit confident in our seed numbers at this point, so I went into lazy mode and started making the easiest progress I could, ignoring anything that looked vaguely difficult. We beat the main path and up and down with puffy lifts for 1 out of 2 seeds, main path Fluff Puff Peaks Flying Battleship for 0 out of 1 seeds, cruising with lifting links for 1 out of 2 seeds, countdown to drop down with 1 out of 2 seeds, where you should watch out for the Lakitu since the spinies it drops legally grant you coins from coin blocks, Expert Badge Challenge Spring Feet 1 for 1 out of 1 seeds, and the completely useless Spring Feet badge, and rounded off our break time with the appropriately labeled Break Time Kick It Out My Way for 1 out of 1 seeds. With the required 14 seeds, we enter Fluff Puff Peaks Palace containing the second royal seed and abruptly shaking us out of our break time. Halfway through is the most devastating roadblock yet. In order to progress, we must stand on the third of these pipes, causing it to descend, and you might possibly notice there's something in the way, making that an eensy bit difficult. We had the thought of going back for the Wonder Flower in the hopes it would somehow change up the section for the better, but it does not. The coins are still on the pipe, and the pipe must be stood on to get through. If only there were another way past the pipe than standing on it. Perhaps we could, just maybe phase through solid matter? If you turn on online co-op, you'll encounter a wild youtube.com/WarioFan63. And would you look at that? youtube.com/WarioFan63 is standing on the other side of the pipe. In multiplayer mode, the player gains the special ability to shuffle off this mortal coil by holding the L and R buttons for a brief moment. Your soul is incapable of monetary gain, and touching a living being resurrects you with some of your humanity potentially intact. Would you look at that? We're on the other side of the pipe, and the on-screen coin counters are at 0. But hold on 1 second, this isn't the win button it looks like. For unrelated reasons, I installed a camera in WarioFan's house and captured this shocking footage.
What's up gamers, Derek here. Today on VG Myths, I'll be playing Super Mario Bros. Wonder for the Nintendo Switch. My challenge will be to grab as many delicious Yum Yum coins as I can. Hey look, it's Game Champ from YouTube. Oh, this is awful. She hasn't grabbed an entire coin. Well, lucky for her, I've been slurping up all these coins so I could arrive at the other side of this pipe, thus giving Game Champ the boon of my incredibly good video game gameplay, in which I collected thousands of Yum Yum delicious coin money. Why, I'm so happy I feel like shouting out my credit card number. 1.
The moment we interacted with WarioFan, we made progress in our game via the progress made in his game. We're not actually getting past this pipe without collecting coins, we just had somebody else collect the coins in our stead. And it's not even just this specific level's coins that matter. WarioFan has been collecting coins and making progress by doing so in his entire playthrough. This potentially allows him access to more levels and more badges than are possible in a coinless run. The only way to play online multiplayer and ensure that your playthrough is an absolutely pure coinless playthrough is if your online partners are themselves on a pure coinless save file. Long story short, phasing through the pipes in online multiplayer is only a coinless option if your partner has themselves gotten to the other side of the pipe coinless, meaning while the strategy technically works, it only works if you don't need it. Does that mean beating this level coinless is impossible? No, of course it's not impossible. What in the world could have given you that idea? All we have to do is stand on the pipe without touching the coins, which may be difficult, but is in fact completely possible. The hitbox for coin collection and the hitbox for standing on the pipe are not aligned, with the coins hitbox being just barely slightly slimmer. Skip the first 2 pipes with a long parachute cap jump, carefully position yourself, and ground pound to end all horizontal momentum, followed immediately by a jump. This is ultra precise and will absolutely take a few level resets, but once you stick the landing, the hard part is over. Crouch walk as the pipe descends to reach the other side completely coinless, thus earning the right to punch Budger in the face for the second Royal Seed. Important note for the bonus challenge, this strategy will not allow us to obtain this level's optional Wonder Seed. While transformed into Luigi Toadette, the player loses their mid-air badge abilities and the ground pound. No parachute cap means we have to do the ledge trick 3 times in a row, each of those jumps being harder than the singular jump from before, and we'll have no way of reliably stopping our momentum. Probably possible in a TAS, but nowhere near feasible for my poor human meat puppet hands. Nevertheless, progression will be easy in the next chunk of Petal Isles. We collect 1 out of 1 seeds in Badge Challenge Dolphin Kick 2, 1 out of 1 seeds in Wiggle Ray Swimming, and 1 out of 2 seeds in Downpour Uproar, giving the 8 Petal Isle seeds necessary to enter World 3, Shining Falls. We start off easy with 1 out of 1 freebie seeds from Master Poplin's house, ramp up a bit with some tight parachute cap jumps for 2 out of 2 seeds in the Hoppycat Trial, Hop Hoppin' Away, then encounter the completely impossible Break Time Unreachable Treasure. This level was properly named, and you will never in a million years obtain 1 out of 1 seed. coins. We go back to easy mode with Poof Badge Challenge, Crouching High Jump 1, obtaining 1 out of 1 seeds in the Crouching High Jump badge, then crank it back up with the Midway Trial Hop to It. If you ignore the wonder and just head straight for the exit, you'll arrive in this room. Like the Condarts before them, Hoppycats are fully capable of bashing blocks, and coins obtained by doing so legally belong to the player. Their jump is triggered if the player jumps while within a certain range. Unfortunately, the range extends to the entrance pipe, and we kind of have to jump to get over the coins. Notice the pipe above. That's where we arrive from if we complete the wonder. Said wonder, where you play as a Hoppycat yourself, is doable coinless. Take damage midway to shrink your horizontal hitbox, making you small enough to barely squeeze past some tightly packed mini coins. With the seed collected, be careful on the way down and head into the pipe. If you were thinking we'd float to the right, that's definitely not happening. I was instead thinking we might be able to get something done by floating to the left, which was regrettably fruitless. Wall jumps still trigger the Hoppycats, and we can't float to a high enough point on the left wall to avoid eye contact. There is another mid-air option. If we accept a demerit and play as Yoshi, we could flutter at least over to the halfway point. Then, theoretically, we could work from there with some finagling shenanigans. I wasn't so ready to accept that demerit though, and headed back earlier in the game to see if I'd missed any potential upgrades. While searching, I cleared the Anglefish Trial Ready Aim Fly with 1 out of 2 seeds, Pole Block Passage in World 2 for 1 out of 2 seeds, and went back to Bull Rush Express in World 1 for 3 out of 3 seeds. This one's surprisingly easy. Most coins you actually have to jump out of your way for, and crouching gets the job done for the rest. Make sure you're Big Toadette to tank a hit at the end, and keep a backup elephant on hand to open up the secret exit. Said exit unlocks Sproings in the Twilight Forest, which we sweep for 2 out of 2 seeds, Cosmic Hoppos, where we rush for 1 out of 2 seeds, and finally what we were looking for, the Jet Run Expert Badge Challenge. Though making the game far harder to control, the Jet Run badge does technically give us a new ability. We enter Coyote Time for a second after running off a ledge, during which we are allowed to jump. While Hoppycats probably respond to Coyote Time jumps no different from any other, it's at least worth checking out. Unfortunately, we only get the Jet Run badge after clearing the stage, and as I quickly discovered, that is ludicrously impossible. The first jump is easy, but the second has a line of coins perfectly blocking the way forward. Begrudgingly, I gave up on the ultimately not even that promising Jet Run idea and went back to theory crafting. That's when we rediscovered our old secret weapon, which I'm sure you've all been waiting for, player number 2. At any moment during play, you can add in local co-op players, up to a maximum of 4. To be honest, I didn't have much hope this would help the run at first. In challenge runs of prior games, co-op only helped us because players were capable of directly causing each other bodily harm, which they are now unfortunately incapable of. Turns out, co-op is more broken than ever before. Check out what happens when a player spawns in. They jump out of player number 1. Though, jump probably isn't the right word. As far as the Hoppycats are concerned, absolutely no jumping has been performed. There's one major caveat to local co-op. While you can add players mid-level, you can't remove them. Any level in which this strat is used will have to be completed while babysitting the second controller. That's not an issue here since we're already basically at the goal, clearing the Midway Trial Hop to It with 2 out of 2 seeds. We then quickly obtain 1 out of 2 seeds in the Sharp Trial Launch to Victory and 1 out of 2 seeds in the Sugar Star Trial Across the Night Sky. I briefly also looked at the optional wonder for Sugar Star Trial, which is absolutely not happening, at least not if we're unwilling to put in effort. The wonder inflicts the magnetizing star power-up, making it not even worth attempting. Regardless, we enter the final trial, Zip Track Dash, which presents yet another roadblock. The secret exit is necessary for progression, and the path leading there is locked behind the Hoppycat type Wonder Flower. Mistime your jumps to dodge the mini coins until you reach the sliding finale. Jumping at the coin-littered end of the slide triggers a context-sensitive ultra-high jump leading to the secret exit. During testing, I've been able to collect the first of these coins and jump without triggering the context-sensitive super jump, meaning the range for the super jump is likely fully contained within the mini coins hitboxes. A standard jump doesn't get far enough, ending the wonder and stranding us down on the main path. Don't lose hope just yet, the dev intended path is out, but me and the devs aren't exactly on speaking terms. Bring Bubble and Parachute Cap along the ride. At this section, you can get a few bounces to an upper corner of track. Use parachute cap wall jumps to finagle yourself upwards. This still won't be enough though. The devs realized dumb stupid idiots would deliberately play the game wrong, so they blocked in the top corner. Unfortunately for them, I am a really dumb stupid idiot. Fire a ton of bubbles to the left and make a flying leap. With a couple lucky bounces, you can ram the corner and arrive on solid secret exit ground. Zip under the last handful of coins and grab the flagpole for your well-undeserved victory, 1 out of 2 seeds on the final trial, and the 3rd royal seed. With World 3 cleared, we return to the Petal Isles, this trip being a little different. While Worlds 1, 2, and 3 had to be cleared in that order, Worlds 4, 5, and 6 can be cleared in whatever order the player chooses. We may as well rush through the hub to unlock them all at the same time. The first level is Jewel Block Cave, which we clear with 1 out of 2 seeds, and which contains the game's final best transformation power-up, the Drill Mushroom. Drill form is highly underrated, and for the rest of this playthrough will be your new normal. Drilling into ground makes you functionally immortal, and drilling into ceilings is even more broken, often allowing you to skip big level chunks for free. Combine that with your upgraded offensive ability to kill enemies both above and below, and you've got the most versatile power-up in the game. You'll get another permanent upgrade in Badge Challenge Boosting Spin Jump, where we grab 1 out of 1 seeds and the Boosting Spin Jump badge. This badge essentially gives you a double jump that can be activated at any time, allowing for ludicrous height and mid-air control. You can count the number of times you'll want to remove this badge on 0 hands. Otherwise, while rushing through the hub, we obtain 1 out of 1 seeds on Petal Isles Flying Battleship, 1 out of 2 seeds in Muncher Fields, 1 out of 1 seeds in Wiggler Race Spelunking, 1 out of 1 seeds in KO Arena Petal Metal, and 1 out of 2 seeds in Ma Ma Mouthful, where I must note you'll have to pay close attention to your coin counter, since if a Ma Ma opens its maw, it might bonk a coin block, the coin within always coincidentally landing in your wallet. I'm also going a little out of order to let you know this, since I didn't find out till later, but you can now head into World 6 and enter its Search Party to grab free power-ups whenever you want. Search Parties are a special type of level that allow you to leave through the entrance, your loot intact. Personally, I recommend Drill Form with Bubble in reserve. With the most versatile version of our moveset unlocked and restockable, we head into World 4, the Sun-Baked Desert. Grab the freebie seed and head into the world proper. I started off easy with 2 out of 2 seeds and Valley Full of Snoodles. The Crouching High Jump 2 badge challenge, on the other hand, features this, a falling donut block with a 1-block gap plugged by coins. We'll have to drop the block to go under, at which point we've lost too much height. Since this is a badge challenge and Crouching High Jump is worthless for wall jump shenanigans, we'll have to cheese a little bit differently. Run under the coins, perform a Crouching High Jump, and stall along the wall until the donut block respawns, clearing the challenge for 1 out of 1 seeds. We continue for 1 out of 1 seeds in KO Arena Sunbaked Skirmish, then head into Color Switch Dungeon, where you'll have to do a few precise crouch jumps over rows of coins and thin corridors. You can give yourself an easier, faster time with Drill, burrowing past any door located along a contiguous surface. In this final zip dash tower, rather than hitting the switch, you can perform wall jumps to reach the top. This serves no practical purpose. 2 out of 2 seeds. Break time, lights out, is slightly easier than the devs intended. 1 out of 1 seeds. With so many easy levels, it was about time we reached something impossible. In comes the Parachute Cap 2 badge challenge featuring this basically impossible jump. We can't bring our own power-ups into a badge challenge, so killing piranha plants is a no-go. I opted instead to expend my only available damage boost. As a reward, we get this jump. Since we already damage boosted to get through the prior section, that's a no-go. Theoretically, Yoshi could get through easy by eating the piranha plants, but I'm certainly not gonna take that demerit without theory crafting a bit harder. The piranha plants hitboxes don't quite fill the entire platform they're placed on, so we can position ourselves there safely. Getting around is the hard part. So we got to thinking. In co-op mode, whenever a player revives, they have invulnerability time just the same as when taking damage. There are coins directly above, so make sure you ground pound immediately to end your ascension. Then, tiptoe to the other side of the piranha plant, self-destruct your other self, and repeat the process. Once you reach the right side of the final piranha plant, make your escape and abandon yourself for 1 out of 1 seed. seeds. Back to easy mode. Rolling Ball Hall's wonder is token based, so we save it for later and clear for 1 out of 2 seeds. Then back to impossible mode, but this time it's genuinely impossible. Rever Run features this thin hallway with zip tracks, and of course the zip track moving forward is the one lined with coins. Even if in an ultra hypothetical scenario we triple double Flipway's hyperextended negative jumped over every coin, the seed is locked behind bopping a wall just below the entrance. The only way to bop the wall is a revved rever, which is legally a Koopa shell and will collect the coins along its linear path. Bloomps of the Desert Skies wonder has us p-ballooning upward. This is absolutely incredibly easy until we actually reach the Wonder Seed, which is once again surrounded by a wall of mini purples. This time they're not spinning, but that doesn't matter. Our hitbox is too big to fit here. This seed is likely fully impossible. We settle for the exit and 1 out of 2 seeds. Armads on a Roll presents an interesting challenge. Partway through, we're blocked by a giant spinning circle of coins. To bypass it, we switch to Bubble and bounce over. The Wonder presents exactly the same challenge, but this time the game is running at double speed. There's no special trick to it, you're just gonna have to perform the bubble cheese 3 times as fast. There will also be new rings of spinning purples to avoid, which is easier said than done thanks to your jumps lasting a microsecond. Nevertheless, we acquire 2 out of 2 seeds. For break time, raise the stage, enter with the boosting spin jump badge. That's it. We beat the Desert Mystery for 1 out of 2 seeds, reaching the 15 required for the Sun-Baked Desert Palace. There are a few tricky jumps, but none that should give you any issues thanks to the Drill Cap's instant immortality. We bank Royal Seed 4 and move on to World 5, Fungi Mines. First, grab the 1 out of 1 freebie seeds from Loyal Poplin's house. Congratulations! You have officially collected every single possible Wonder Seed from World 5. We're all so proud of you. To put it another way, we've finally reached the point that makes a true coinless run absolutely no way, no how impossible, with 0 wiggle room. In order to truly enter World 5 proper, and thus obtain World 5's Royal Seed, and thus beat the game, you must pay 10 flower coins to the Poplin at the bridge. As covered before, it's impossible to pay 10 flower coins without obtaining 10 flower coins. This is where the mission failed finally becomes canon. Or is it? I'm not quite ready to throw in the flaming towel yet. For now, there's a separate accessible world we've yet to explore. Welcome to World 6, Deep Magma Bog. Start off with 1 out of 1 freebie seeds at Observatory number 1, then... Tacnabbit, past game champ, do you have any attention span? Turns out, Past Me got an idea into her stupid little head and really just couldn't wait to try it out, so suddenly we're at the Jet Run 1 badge challenge again, even though we really don't need to be. That specific stupid idea was a repurposing of co-op shenanigans. Previously, we abused a co-op player's spawning jump from a static, grounded state, which obviously has very little practical use since we can obviously already jump from that state in 99% of scenarios. But what if we want more height in a different state? For example, if we had just barely missed a ledge in midair. Getting the proper timing on a standard spawn is difficult, but a ghosted player can be positioned right where we need them to bounce from. There's an obvious problem doing this in the Jet Run Badge Challenge since you'll have to babysit 2 jet running players simultaneously. But notice, neither player is affected by Jet Run until they manually start moving. Spawn player 2 before the big jump without touching their controller, then execute player 1. Position player 1's ghost past the coins, swap to controller 2, run through the gap, and enjoy the show as your carefully constructed row of dominoes falls directly into a row of coins. Immediately on executing the prior jump, drop player 2's controller and swap it with player 1, then perform 2 extremely precisely timed jumps and ground pounds in a row to clear both sets of coins and complete the journey across the next gap. We're not done yet and we'll have to do even more jumps mimicking the first one, with the added difficulty of both players being in permanent jet run mode. Properly positioning a ghost while babysitting the other controller is a brain-thinking feat my brain is simply incapable of feeding. But what if I told you Super Mario Bros. Wonder has a game mechanic we have yet to make a single use of in this entire run? A game mechanic which completely solves this final obstacle and allows us to clear the level for free. Holding the X button. What? 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 In what scenario does this even make any sense? And then you just start moving immediately after. The emoji button overrides jet run. The emoji button. The emoji button serves a genuine practical purpose in beating a level in this video game without collecting coins. Since holding the emoji button is a relatively simple action, we can brain think two controllers at once, keeping one player ready to jump while the other positions their soul. With a viable strat found for every section of the level, all that remains is chaining it together. What's Jet Run required for? It's a level in this video game. That's good. I like that. With that incredibly satisfying and stupidly unnecessary detour over, we get back to Deep Magma Bog and enter the Floating High Jump 2 badge challenge. The main platforms at the start are both difficult and unnecessary, so jump for the right wall. The Floating High Jump normally allows for infinite wall climbing, but there's a row of coins above the ledge preventing that strategy from working on its own. Neither does the angle allow for jumping from the platforms the intended way. We're gonna have to bring back our secret weapon. If you time the respawn just right and maybe hold right on their controller for good measure, they'll bounce over the ledge and under the coins. The rest of the level is easy solo, just make sure whenever your partner respawns, they quickly die painfully and horribly. 1 out of 1 seeds. Where the Rumba's Rules Wonder is absolutely definitively no way, no how impossible. No matter how good at movement you are, you're not fitting your transformed butt through this tunnel without intersecting with at least 1 mini coin. We give up and clear the main and secret exits for 2 out of 3 seeds. Badge Challenge Boosting Spin Jump 2 is an ultra easy 1 out of 1 seed clear, Rargs in the Ruins is a 2 out of 2 clear, Pull Turn Burn is a 1 out of 2 clear with tokens blocking the wonder, and Observatory number 4 is a 1 out of 1 freebie clear, and our stopping point. The only remaining accessible level is Badge Challenge Grapple Vine 2, which, while not impossible, is impossible. Right at the start, we'd have to do a co-op jump, then a super precise glide across an extra long gap, then we'd have to find some way to gain an astronomical amount of height over a vertical line of coins on the next zip dash. And then, even if we got past that, there are even more ultra precise grapples and co-op launches. I'm not doing it. I'm not that good at video games. But since we've given up there and have explored every accessible World 9 level, it's finally time to throw in that burning towel. Similar to World 5, a huge chunk of World 6 is blocked behind a Mafia Poplin. The palace happens to be on our side of the map, but that doesn't functionally matter. We need 15 total Wonder Seeds to open the palace, and by sheer happenstance, the number of Wonder Seeds accessible on this side of the map, coinless or otherwise, is 14. By design, the world is explicitly no way, no how impossible without paying the toll, and thus collecting coins. With all hope thoroughly lost, this run is at its final stretch. Let's mop up the Wonder Seeds we passed by for the bonus challenge. Back in World 1's Piranha Plants on Parade, the Wonder Seed is now Ultra Easy mode. That previously impossible line of mini purples can be bypassed with Drill Form and Boosting Spin Jump, updating the level total to 3 out of 3 seeds. Scram Skedaddlers with the Magnetizing Star power-up is less easy, but totally doable. Enter with Bubble and Fire Flower. Bubble is used solely to bounce over the opening set of coins. Otherwise, swap to Fire Flower, carefully inch your way forward, and kill any Skedaddlers in your way. The coins they carry will drop and eventually despawn. If honey barrels are directly in your path, Skedaddlers can destroy them for you, or you can super quickly touch them and retreat before the coins inside realize they exist. Don't rush, and you can update to 2 out of 2 seeds. Cosmic Coppos we update to 2 out of 2 seeds. Angry Spikes and Sinkin' Pipes we newly clear with 2 out of 2 seeds. Swamp Pipe Crawl looks like it'll have to be 1 out of 2 seeds since the Wonder is locked behind a pushable pipe. While pushing pipes, you're periodically rewarded with coins. However, very stupidly, these coins are specifically rewarded for pushing the pipe a certain distance in one singular push. If you push a single unit, give up, push a single unit again, and repeat the process, you will never be rewarded. We clear with 2 out of 2 seeds. In Pipe Rock Plateau Palace, the Wonder is stupid easy, 1 out of 1 seeds. In Petal Isles, we start a new level, Leaping Smackerel, and avoid the token-based Wonder for 1 out of 2 seeds. Then, a level we did clear before, Bluebird Roost. The Wonder has us bouncing up this chasm until we reach the Wonder Seed, surrounded by a spinning wall of mini coins. The gaps between are definitely big enough, but we don't have any way of reliably timing our jump inside since there's no ground directly below. It's probably best to not even bother with intentional timing and just restart level over and over. Eventually, fate will decide it's bored of your shenanigans and grant 2 out of 2 seeds. Next, Badge Challenge Wall Climb Jump 2. This is one of the most intense coinless challenges yet because we have 0 cheese. You've got to reach the top of a giant coin-littered tower with a badge that ironically does not allow for infinite wall climbing. If you want to try any specific level in the game coinless just for fun, this is the one I most recommend. I've got a oh wait, yeah. I was gonna ask, hey, the person who only did yellow coins, how did they do this section? Did they do it or say it was impossible? They just landed on the purple coins in the middle. They just jumped around. Assuming they did max %, they could just also not do this level. Meh. Easy! Are there coins up here? Okay, good, there aren't. 0, 0, 0, 0. After managing that ludicrous task on Strem, I called it a night and spent a few days away expecting we were in the home stretch. Soon I could finally stop playing the game and start making this video, which would already be coming out long after multiple challenge tubers got in on the ground floor. Then, something terrible happened. Super Mario Bros. Wonder was murdered.
Okie dokie. It's me.
The mission failed is revoked. The Super Mario Bros. Wonder coinless run is just getting started. Turns out, despite Wonder's local co-op being intentionally designed to prevent shenanigans, speedrunners have discovered it is the most shenanigan-y multiplayer yet seen in a 2D Mario. Thanks to some bafflingly excellent programming, local co-op allows for not one, but two super easy out-of-bounds glitches, enabling the player to walk wherever they darned well please. These glitches involve abuse of the host mechanic in local co-op. One player is designated the host, having control over the game camera. This defaults to controller 1, but is passed to other players when the host sucks. For whatever reason, if the players enter the character selection screen and confirm choices, even if they don't actually switch characters, a special instant teleportation of non-hosts to the host's side will occur. Also, for whatever reason, if the host is on a linear track and the non-host is close enough to a free roam area level that their player number appears over their head, then upon teleport, the non-host will not lose their free roaming controls. Or at least, that's what should happen, but for some reason I encountered an issue absolutely none of the guides I was following even mentioned. I could walk in directions the track I teleported to didn't move, in this example up and down, but the moment I moved left or right, my character would zip back onto the track. Turns out, there's a secret mechanic integral to the glitch. If you play the game with the D-pad like some kind of dumb stupid idiot, this glitch is non-functional. Despite the game not appearing to have true analog control in most scenarios, it does in fact have analog support in a few places the devs intended to be inconsequential. Check out what normally happens when the player stands on a linear track and slightly tilts the analog stick. The player character will accusatorily lock eyes with you, the player. This is the dev-intended analog control in Super Mario Bros. Wonder. The important part isn't the Toadette drowned situation though, we're instead concerned with the fact she's receiving our directional input without moving along the track. Notice, in a free roam area, the character will instead walk seemingly normally, without being able to walk onto tracks. Perform the OOB glitch only moving with light analog tilts, and voila! You can go in whatever direction you want. Additionally, if player 1 is the one out of bounds, you can regain full camera control by returning to single player mode. The other out-of-bounds glitch is similar. If the non-host player is jumping when the game is paused, they wait to land before the teleport occurs. If, during this time, you move the host onto a linear track, the non-host will teleport slightly late and thus land out of bounds. The devs disabled the pause button while any player is walking along a linear track to avoid such shenanigans, but the teleport delay bypasses that. Thanks to these glitches, we can now potentially reach areas locked behind coin gates without supporting organized crime. Even though we're not supposed to be there, some levels are always loaded in and interactable. Let's get back to World 6. Going OOB at the entrance allows us to fall down to other areas. The coin-locked bridge still doesn't actually exist, so we can't cross that way. There are two poplins guarding boulders down here, blocking both entrances to a completely pointless shortcut back to the palace. Break their concept of reality and shimmy past both boulders to arrive where we theoretically should have arrived from, the left half of World 6, featuring the interactable level KO Arena Magma Flare-Up. Curb Stomp for 1 out of 1 seeds. This level is now in the level select menu, and thus we can teleport to the left half of World 6 whenever we want. With Christmas season started, we enter Wavy Ride through the magma tube, easily completing with 2 out of 2 seeds. Then Dragon Boneyard. The wonder can be cheesed with Bubble. Ride the dragon to the right edge, bounce up the wall to skip the rest of the ride, wait for it to catch up, and finish with 2 out of 2 seeds. We quickly rush Hot Hot Hot's main exit for 1 out of 3 seeds, then discover we'd accidentally opened Observatory number 3 for 1 out of 1 freebie seeds, putting us at 16 of the 15 seeds necessary to open Deep Magma Bog Palace. And ever so luckily, this just might be the easiest palace yet. Engage Budger in some anime shenanigans to officially beat World 6 and obtain its Royal Seed. We now only need 1 Royal Seed to beat the game. With the end in sight, we head straight to World 5, but you might notice a problem. Both variants of the Oob glitch rely on teleporting a free roam player to a player on a linear track. Unfortunately, in this area before repairing the bridge, there exist no linear tracks. I've tried doing some weird random finagling near the edges, but have never managed to create any Oob shenanigans. But hold on one second. This isn't technically the only entrance to World 5. All worlds have alternative entrances, for example, hidden Captain Toad locations, which are sectioned off on different parts of the map than the player would normally be able to reach. There's actually already a specific Oob used by speedrunners that abuses a Captain Toad area to sequence break, allowing the player to move from World 3 into World 4 via this pipe that comes from there. Unfortunately, Captain Toad probably isn't gonna be our way into World 5. World 5 has no Captain Toad entrance pipe leading to any other worlds. It only has an exit pipe coming from World 4. We're locked on a linear track in a sectioned off portion of the map with no method of going Oob. There's one last World 5 entrance to consider. Every world contains a flower pad that teleports the player to that world's respective challenge level in the special world. If we can go Oob in the special world, theoretically we could jump over to World 5's respective level and teleport into World 5 backwards. We already unlocked the World 1 and World 2 entrances by clearing prior levels, which give us a bit to work with. Pipe Rock Plateau Special is surprisingly easy when you hug the hoppos on the lower track, letting us clear it with 2 out of 2 seeds, opening the overworld path into the main special hub. World 2's respective special, Climb to the Beat, is ludicrously harder. Remember Jump Jump Jump? This level has the same concept with coins spawning alongside rhythm blocks and a critical difference. The snaking path moves primarily upward. Attempting an infinite bounce fruitlessly leads to the level boundary. Reversing direction is exceptionally difficult, and I'm not even sure if it's possible, so we'll need another shenanigan. If you bounce upward just a little bit when the wonder starts, you can see the second set of snaking rhythm blocks just barely out of range. With 2 tracks to attack from, I went about finding a noob, which I was successful in near Special 1. Hug the hub's outer lip all the way southeast where the World 5 special lies and make a fateful jump. Incredibly, astronomically, ludicrously, frustratingly, this method is a no-go, because bafflingly, the game has yet another glitch which de facto functions as some kind of weirdo, wacko, out-of-bounds protection that only works in this one stupid scenario. I did tons of shenanigans trying to finagle this, but alas, the airwalk glitch occurred every time. There's one last extremely slim hope. We currently have 4 Special World seeds, and at 6 seeds we'll open up the Special World's midway bonus level. Upon completion of that, a flower pad teleporting further above is unlocked. I'm not really sure this is actually the same load zone, but you can see the Special World down below. Theoretically, we could go Oob up here and drop down with hopes of landing on the World 5 Special. To do that, we need to gain access to and clear just 1 more special level to obtain 2 more Special World seeds. We already have access to Petal Isle Special Way of the Goomba. No. I briefly looked into World 3's special, Triple Threat Deluge, but it's a Zelda-like with the path directly blocked by walls that turn into coins when destroyed, making it explicitly impossible. World 4's special is locked behind a chain of levels near the Captain Toad pipe we oobed to earlier. Each level in the chain must be cleared for the next one to even appear. The first in the chain is Secrets of Shova Mansion. While we're here, let's get the wonder done. It's under a pretty stressful soft time limit with tons of coins spawning above and below, but is ultimately doable. We clear through the main exit for 2 out of 3 Wonder Seeds. Main exit doesn't do it though. We need the secret exit to continue the level chain. That secret exit can only be accessed if you push this block into this hole. If you don't see the problem, you have too much faith in me. As far as I'm aware, there's no way to push a block in midair. We tried using Jet Run's Coyote Time, which doesn't do it, and the Elephant's Melee Attack, which also doesn't do it. This secret exit, and thus the World 4 special, appear to be impossible coinless. Our last chance for those 2 special seeds is the World 6 special, whose flower pad is reachable with oob shenanigans. Sadly, oobing doesn't actually accomplish anything. Though these levels are visible, they're not interactable until you've beaten the level immediately prior. The first in the chain is locked behind a 25 Wonder Seed requirement. The natural next step is to collect seeds in World 6, but past Game Champ is up to her old shenanigans again. For the final time, let's run back to every single unfinished accessible level in the game, why not? Technically, past Game Champ did this in 2 sweeps, with the second being focused on Wonder Tokens. To make this script vaguely sort of slightly organized if you squint, we're pretending she did it all at once, like somebody only regular stupid might do. During this pass, we incredibly easily clear Break Time Wonder Token Tunes 1 out of 1 seeds, Pokebeat Pass 2 out of 2 seeds, Pole Block Passage 2 out of 2 seeds, Break Time Cloud Cover 1 out of 1 seeds, Break Time Watery Wonder Tokens 1 out of 1 seeds, Fluff Puff Peaks Flying Battleship 1 out of 1 seeds, Countdown to Drop Down 2 out of 2 seeds, The Anglefish Trial Ready Aim Fly 2 out of 2 seeds, Break Time Timer Switch Club 1 out of 1 seeds, The Sharp Trial Launch to Victory 2 out of 2 seeds, Break Time Floating Wonder Tokens 1 out of 1 seeds, Break Time Bouncy Tunes 1 out of 1 seeds, Pull Turn Burn 2 out of 2 seeds, Hot 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 3 out of 3 seeds, and Leaping Mackerel 2 out of 2 seeds. There's a section way back in World 1's first hub area totally blocked behind a capitalist poplin. We can go oob nearby, but attempts to cross over disappointingly result in us phasing down to the center of the earth. So why not just activate oob while the host is standing by the rock? Turns out the devs paradoxically thought of that. While the host is next to the rock, all players are instantly forced to the host side through a floating orb animation. I tried a few alternative methods of activating the glitch, including swapping host to a previously non-host player standing in the same spot, but the orb animation takes priority, effectively canceling the glitch. With all ideas exhausted, I'm just gonna mark all the seeds on the other side of that rock as impossible until new tech is found. Using Drill and boosting Spin Jump, we can completely destroy Break Time Timer Switch Dash for 1 out of 1 seeds, then the Desert Mysteries Wonder for 2 out of 2 seeds. Con darts away. The Wonder Weed skipped is a Zelda-like where the coins literally run away from you. Be cautious when nearing the end. The Con dart will likely dive into the left blocks, which contain coins. Damage boost above to lure it into the coinless right side and earn 2 out of 2 seeds. Up and down with puffy lifts. Here we confirm the wonder simply isn't happening. Our lift form is too wide to make this jump without collecting the rightmost coin. Cruising with Linking Lifts Wonder is one of the most annoying coinless seeds in the game. We're trapped on the titular Linking Lift whose segments constantly need to be replaced while it's literally raining coins. Hidden within the deluge are Wonder Tokens we need to collect. To make this a little bit easier, ground pound the link segments from above. That activates them without collecting any coins that have landed there. Don't worry about collecting the Wonder Tokens if it's not safe to do so. They'll respawn if they fall. As for dodging the coins, I can't really give any big advice there. It's largely based on instinct, and even then is basically impossible. So impossible, I have a different piece of advice. After collecting a couple Wonder Tokens, get your butt out of there. At the halfway point, you can abandon the lift, running and jumping above the screen to reach the finale early. Wait at the very left edge and slowly inch yourself to the right. The Lakitu will follow your lead, throwing coins and Wonder Tokens relatively spaced out behind you. Pick out the tokens one by one and clear with 2 out of 2 seeds. Break Time Zip Go Round. No, Search Party Puzzling Park, I'll just let you know right away, is impossible. 4 tokens are no problem, but the 5th token is at the bottom of this chasm, which just so happens to contain 2 coins lining the center of the entrance too close to the edges to slide down. Search Party in Empty Park begins with a bunch of hidden coin blocks, which as the devs intend should be bonked and used as platforms. The blocks containing Wonder Buds are safe, so memorize their locations and navigate with boosting spin jump and bubble bounces. I didn't encounter any more coins once reaching the rain clouds, clearing with 1 out of 1 seeds. Break Time Treasure Vault. We're supposed to drill through a tight corridor with absolutely unavoidable coins along it. That doesn't mean we can't collect the seed though. This particular stretch is too thin for players to exist in except in drill mode. If you try to spawn a second player at an invalid space like this, the game has a secret backup mechanic for finding valid space. A glowing orb spins clockwise from the spawnee's position. The nearest valid space just so happens to be the final room containing the Wonder Seed. 1 out of 1 seeds. Rolling Ball Hall's Wonder is easily cheesed with drill until the finale, where we are locked into a sliding state and forced to make some super tight hops. Boosting Spin Jump is highly recommended. 2 out of 2 seeds. Ninja Jump Party features a set of mini purple coins lining floating platforms, which are the only path upward. As we've already learned, there's still a tiny bit of space to stand on. Inch onto the leftmost platform's left side. Once there, jump into and past the token. The gate behind will dodge at the last second. 2 out of 2 seeds. Search Party Pipe Park features 1 problem token attached to a pulley in this little room. You need to pull the pulley further than is possible in the little space we have to make it break off. The devs intend on you making an extra path upward with invisible coin blocks. But if you're feeling cheesy, you can just spawn in a second player to grab the token while it's still attached to the chain. 1 out of 1 seeds. Sunbaked Desert Palace's Wonder makes the game move at regularly fluctuating speed. Obviously, moving at high speed will be more difficult than low speed. Abuse drill immortality during speed up and you can effectively finish the level in slow motion for 1 out of 1 seeds. Back in World 6, I did more oob shenanigans in the hopes of reaching more levels. Deep Magma Bog Observatory number 2 is unfortunately inaccessible since it doesn't become interactable until paying a fee. Oobing wasn't fruitless though. If you walk directly into the left walls, you'll go right through them and fall onto the lower level. This allows us to get on the left side of the flower coin bridge while still oob. Walk in the right spot and you'll trigger the cutscene introducing the Deep Magma Bog flying battleship. It'll be slightly wonked, but regardless, the level is fully unlocked and playable. It's gonna be a tough one, an auto-scroller full of tricky jumps. This one in particular will require precise timing, letting go of the jump button exactly long enough to get over the ledge, but short enough you don't bounce into the coins. Shortly after the checkpoint is an ultra trick jump. We can't grab the pole as the devs intended, so drop down, wall jump across, and wall jump onto the opposite side of the pole. If you're going for a simple Wonderless clear, you'll face one of the trickiest jumps in the entire run, which I heavily recommend being small for. After stalling the flames, descend the far side of the pole, drop off, and hit the boosting spin jump with super precise timing to fit in the ledge. This is way harder than it looks since the drop doesn't occur on button press, instead waiting on about a half-second timer. Doing all that to complete the level Wonderless will reward you with literally nothing. At first I was worried the Wonder would be outright impossible. The switch to unblock the flower is directly above a column of coins. The switch hitbox width appears to be thinner than the coin hitbox width. But turns out, drill has a special property likely due to its ability to kill enemies from below. A drill player's switch pressing hitbox is increased, while their hitbox for collecting coins remains the same, making the switch pressable and flower reachable. With the Wonder activated, Bowser will destroy the blocks, previously forcing us to do that ultra-precise dropping spin jump, allowing for a much easier clear with 1 out of 1 seeds. Break Time Hot Hot Rocks. The seed appears when all rocks are cooled through the elephant's water spray. Each glob of water can potentially grant an instant coin upon landing via a sprouting flower animation. Cooling down a rock causes the water to dissipate sans animation, so in the end you only need to get lucky with a couple dice rolls to finish with 1 out of 1 seeds. Deep Magma Bog Palace's Wonder is easy, just be careful when watering the wilted flower. The moment you enter Wonder, coins appear along the edges of the spinning fossil right where you spawn in. Wait for the opening to be above you before breaking the pot, then earn your 1 out of 1 seeds. Downpour Uproar's wonder ends with a familiar sight, the seed guarded by spinning mini purples. Even if they were standing still, they're likely too packed together to fit Toadette's hitbox through, making this seed definitively impossible. Jewel Block Cave's wonder features a giant crusher chasing us down a chasm of breakable crystal blocks, some of which containing coins. It seems like a nightmare, but with a little exploration, we found a golden root. Dig through the empty blocks to the right of the drill mushroom, then hug the right edge. While the Wonder Bud spawns coins, you'd have to go out of your way for any of them. Stop at the mini coin block, wait for the crusher to unblock your left, and there will be a direct path of empty blocks to the floor. 2 out of 2 seeds. Nosher Lair is an easy one, but I have to mention as a warning. While coin blocks eaten by Noshers will never grant coins, coin blocks activated by POW blocks will grant coins. And if a Nosher touches a POW block, they automatically activate it. You'll have to babysit the POW blocks, throwing the ones around the coin blocks into the horde. Otherwise, 2 out of 2 seeds. Muncherfield's Wonderflower is right here. In order to get there, we need to move through this hallway. No. Mama Mouthful's wonder, no. Search Party, Item Park. Once again, 4 tokens can be grabbed coinless, no problem, but 1 token is absolutely a problem. It spawns after 3 Cheep Cheeps, located behind a solid wall, are defeated. The only offensive option that can reach them is Bubble. When an enemy is bubbled, they turn into a coin and are automatically teleported to the player's pocket upon popping, which happens automatically after a second or 2. Defeating these Cheep Cheeps without turning them into coins is impossible, but that doesn't mean we have to collect them. Murder a Cheep Cheep and make a break for it. If the bubble is far enough off screen, it despawns, taking the coin with it. Repeat 3 times to clear this level with 1 out of 1 seeds and your blood-stained hands clean. With that, we've exhausted every seed in the game that could possibly be obtained, without ludicrous shenanigans. Time to get weird. Remember those impassable coin walls in the Sugar Star trial? They're only impassable while we're in the Wonder. While we're not in the Wonder, we can walk by totally penniless. If only there were some way to vicariously gain progress in this game via somebody else's progress.
Miss Gamer Tab, didn't you say online multiplayer is banned? I'm the best!
No, I didn't. Stop putting words in my mouth, person I made up, voiced by a flawless Toad impersonator. Online multiplayer with players who have collected coins is banned. If they haven't collected coins, they're entirely welcome. And since randomly encountering a coinless player in the wild is practically impossible, that other player is gonna have to be you. In order to do this run once, you have to do it twice. On 2 separate consoles, on 2 separate accounts, with 2 separate Nintendo Switch Online subscriptions. God damn. After wasting just enough of your precious time on this earth to unlock the Sugar Star Trial coinless a second time, run forward with Switch number 2, ignoring the Wonder, and wait in a spot you know to be safe. Back on Switch number 1, enter Wonder, get as far as you can coinless, and go Ghost. Your other self outside the Wonder, who is equally coinless, will revive you, effectively teleporting you past the gauntlet. Repeat until you reach the seed, thus coinlessly beating the Sugar Star Trial with 2 out of 2 seeds. On one Switch at least, the other gave up and quit the level. What a loser. In Muncher Fields, notice there's a bit of space between the Wonder Bud that spawns the coins blocking us and the coins themselves. We can abuse that space by reviving on a partner's standee there, thus magically teleporting to the opposite side of the Wonder Bud without having activated it. The actual Wonder is easy, so we obtain 2 out of 2 seeds. That's kind of it for the asynchronous shenanigans, unfortunately. The rest of the Wonder Seeds are either in locations a non-Wonder player can't get to, or have a transformation-based Wonder. The devs included a failsafe for transformations. Transformed Wondered players are placed in a separate, instanced environment, incapable of interacting with non-Wondered players. You can even see it happening on screen. Players and standees located in the other instance fade away. I was about ready to call this run done, but then we made the stupidest realization ever in Badge Challenge Grapple Vine 2.
Okay, so what I'm gonna do is have Daisy just jump up and then pause. Bam! Paused players are legally valid ghost revival stations. This exceptionally obvious late game discovery opens up the stupidest shenanigans yet seen on VG Myths. So stupid, I can't even properly show you. It's a little difficult to record 2 Nintendo Switches at the same time. Here's a demo so you can at least understand the basic idea. With one Switch, you're gonna jump in the air and pause. Then you swap to the other Switch, ghost over, and pause with them. Swapping back to the original Switch, you'll see your paused partner instantly teleport above you. Ghost over to them, and pause. With endless repetition, you've functionally got infinite jump height. Whenever you see me pausing here in the original footage, that's probably me going to the other Switch for 30 seconds. Remember that outlandishly tall column of coins? With an infinite jump, getting past is practically free. The final stretch of the level is an ultra-difficult gauntlet of zip tracks decorated with coins. Rather than bothering, simply die painfully and horribly in the bottomless pit a couple dozen times. This stupidly easy strategy totally breaks the game's design and allows you to easily obtain 1 out of 1 seeds. If I'd figured out this strat earlier, this video would probably be like 20 minutes long. Let's take this newfound knowledge back to some seemingly impossible levels. First, Mama Mouthful. Before wondering, walk along the stage ahead. There are a few coins you can lure Mamas into eating. With setup done, backtrack and activate the wonder. There's no Mama close enough to eat these coins, and Goomba jump height is ludicrously short, so you'll have to be especially persistent with ghost pausing. Slowly edge the ghost player into the pause player from the direction you intend to move in, pause buffering as you get close. Keep pausing and unpausing until the moment you see a puff of smoke on the ghost player's screen. That marks the moment they've successfully spawned in. By continually repeating this with both switches, you'll move upward about 1 Goomba's worth of height every time you revive. You can throw your second switch in the trash after reaching the moving platform and continue the level no different from a casual playthrough, updating us to 2 out of 2 seeds. This absurdly broken player bridging strategy also allows us to get the wonder in the final trial Zip Track Dash. Swap switches across the night sky until you see a line of descending clouds marking the downward arc of the dev-intended final jump, earning the second of 2 seeds. There's one more unbeaten level where bridging might help us, the Petal Isle special Way of the Goomba. This time we have to bridge directly over lines of coins. You can't self-destruct fast enough after revival to avoid falling on them, which is where restart level comes in. It functionally teleports us back to start. Simply re-enter Wonder to continue bridging. In some instances we'll have to get more clever, in ways which are too finangly to explain, and I honestly don't remember that well, but probably look really cool on the footage I'm not looking at. Wow, did you see that? It really happened. Unfortunately, the online ghost strategy has a hard limit in the ghost timer. When moving at full speed from behind the first line of coins, we can only reach up to this donut block halfway through the level before our soul finally shuffles. That means our double Nintendo Switch strategy is non-viable. We're gonna have to up the ante to quadruple Nintendo Switches, with quadruple copies of Super Mario Bros. Wonder and quadruple Nintendo Switch Online subscriptions. God damn! Unfortunately, after doing some research, I've come to the conclusion that buying all this crap is not a viable strategy. We're gonna have to trick some losers who already have all this crap to help us. Off the top of my head, I knew who I had to call. We're gonna play Super Mario Bros. Wonder with Nathaniel! Oh, he has a life. I knew who I had to call. We're gonna play Super Mario Bros. Wonder with Steve! Oh, he has a life too? I knew who I had to call. We're gonna play Super Mario Bros. Nico? Oh my god! Who doesn't have a life? Hey, Wario fan!
What's up, Derek? Gamers here.
Yeah, I know. Question, do you have a life?
I think so.
Well, we're gonna change that.
Oh, cheese and rice. My name's Taka, and I only exist to help with challenges.
Oh, good, and you brought a friend. How would the both of you like to hate everything? After roping your friends in quotation marks into your cult, they'll have to start their own coinless save files from scratch, following the same rules. Don't be afraid to lend a helping hand in online multiplayer to speed things up. After all, your own save file is itself coinless. Now that we have 4 Nintendo Switches simultaneously running 4 copies of Super Mario Bros. Wonder on 4 active Nintendo Switch Online subscribing accounts which have all done their own separate coinless playthroughs, we can make a tiny bit more progress in this level, and my promise of going beyond parity is fulfilled. Get Wario Fan to pause on the donut block, and your ultimate friendship gambit will finally pay off. He is now immortalized halfway through the level as a de facto checkpoint. If you're wondering why we didn't just use a standee to accomplish the same thing, Goombas don't have hands with which to play standees, silly. Continue the level as normal until reaching the secondary limit of the ghost timer even sooner than last time. Every time a player is revived within a single life, their ghost timer speeds up. Have Taka realize her destiny 3/4 through the level as the final de facto checkpoint. Super Mario Bros. Wonder only supports up to 4 players in a single level at the same time, so 4 Nintendo Switches running 4 copies of Super Mario Bros. Wonder on 4 active Nintendo Switch Online subscribing accounts is the upper limit of shenanigans. And terrifyingly, you may have noticed a pattern. With 2 pre-placed checkpoints, we can only reach about 7/8 through the level before ghosting out. That gets us to this pit. We're now too far for a ghost to reach from Taka's checkpoint, and thus, if either player restarts course, the other will be totally stranded with only the dev-intended powers of a Goomba. We have to somehow bridge over these next 2 sets of coins without either player ever being put into a position where they'll fall on one. Self-destructing in midair is a no-go. Even from the top of the screen, you simply cannot go ghost fast enough. While pathetically attempting to apologize to the 2 genuine human beings whose time I wasted for absolutely no reason, I realized it wasn't actually for no reason, just a stupid one. Bridge to as high an elevation as possible, then start bridging over the coins. When it's time to fall back down, move in the direction of the nearest safe zone while rapidly pausing to ensure you don't overshoot your mark. As long as you keep hold of the run button, I believe you can successfully dodge the coins regardless of starting position. Once on the opposite side, the seed is in your sight, but it's behind an impossibly deadly hazard. 2 coins hovering slightly above the ledge. Going under is too dangerous to consider, and bridging over is impossible. Instead, we'll have to do it semi-legit.
Yes!
Yeah!
Yes! Now what? There isn't
How do we
a...
get over there?
Oh,
My heart is racing so bad. So bad. So bad. Oh my god. Oh my god. This is the easiest jump ever, but I cannot do this. I cannot do this. Oh my god.
maybe, you know, just pause for a sec, you know, drink some more water.
Yeah, I'm pausing for a sec. I can't. I'm shaking so bad right now.
I know that feeling though, where it's like, this is the easiest jump in the world.
But I am Small Toadette. I should have thought of that. I should have brought in a power-up. I didn't think that when I got KO'd before, oh wait, I probably want to keep a power-up for the end of the level.
Is there anything like, could your other account come back and do it, or are they stuck in the Wonder Zone?
They're stuck in the Wonder Zone, so they can't bubble to me now.
Oh yeah, they're locked in the Wonder Dimension.
Yeah, there's no way they're helping me.
Yeah, no, I mean this is just to clear the Goombas and spin, and you're golden.
Oh my god! 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 Now we just have to hope to good heck that we don't need any more help in the level we just unlocked.
Oh, there's a screenshot for the ages. Oh, that Poplin was like staring out his window like, what is she doing? Come on, just jump. What are they doing?
Just take one coin.
After only 3 hours of hell, Way of the Goomba is completed with 2 out of 2 seeds.
Game Champ, that was the worst experience I've ever had. Please tell me I get to do it again.
I never thought you'd ask. Welcome back to Shining Fall Special Triple Threat Deluge. You might remember this is the level where we're blocked by a literal wall which turns into a figurative wall of coins. At first glance, it's impossible, but I got a dumb thought. Remember Treasure Vault, where we cheesed by trying to spawn a player in an invalid location, thus turning them into a spinning revival orb? I tried to cheese just such a thing here in the hopes of orbing past the wall, specifically by trying to spawn on the open sky. While doing this, I accidentally discovered a much more promising new glitch. Online players' current positions are not necessarily 100% accurate. If you pause the game, your Switch will apparently stop sending your partner's Switches your current location data, so if that data is inaccurate, it will stay that way. These videos were recorded simultaneously. Notice on switch number 2, Toadette appears to be inside the wall, while on switch number 1, she clearly is not. Since our Switch thinks the other player is inside a wall, when we try to spawn there, the rotating orb activates, and bam, we phase through solid matter. Through clever abuse of friendship, you can place checkpoints past every wall and reattempt shenanigans as many times as necessary. There's just one part that can't be shenaniganed. This set of spinning fireballs with coins surrounding them. With one final shenanigan, complete the wonder and grab the flagpole for 2 out of 2 seeds. With your friends thoroughly exploited, throw them in the trash and go back to a couple levels that wall shenanigans will be helpful in. In Rever Run, I previously said only a revved Rever could bonk the wall containing the seed, but that's only true for the dev-intended solution. Ground pound with one character at the point where the ledge and solid wall meet, and pause just before hitting the ground. Hopefully, your location will desync slightly inside the ground. With a few wibble-wobbly shenanigans, you can work your way further down into the wall and even spawn below the ledge. Once low enough, you can cease your spawning jump with a ground pound, then bop the wall in elephant form to earn 1 out of 1 seeds. With all unfinished business complete, it's finally time for us to get back to beating the game. Or at least it would be, but I've got some sad anticlimactic news. We took too long. Amid all the discoveries and plot twists that went into this run, Nintendo saw fit to fix their broken game, patching out both OOB methods. While normally this wouldn't be a big deal since I learned long ago never to patch a game when I'm working on a video, this run requires online multiplayer, which is blocked if you're not on the most recent patch. The patch went live just before our Way of the Goomba session, so I didn't have much of a choice. I didn't necessarily expect we'd actually reach World 5, but I'm pretty disappointed we didn't get the chance to find out for sure if we could. Nevertheless, we've still got that bonus challenge with one last semi-final test.
With the Flower Kingdom thoroughly explored, the Super Mario Bros. Wonder coinless run ends in a mission failed with 5 royal seeds and 158 wonder seeds.
And holy heck, drowning in oatmeal, is it a good one.
If you'd like to try the run out yourself, assuming I'm not forgetting anything obvious and stupid, if you start on version 1.0.0 and do all the oob tricks before patching the game, I'm pretty sure you can still get all the same seeds I have, though for obvious reasons you may want to settle for the solo Switch seeds. Either way, it adds a ton of new life to the game and is highly recommended. And while you're at it, maybe try and keep the run going. A new perspective can work wonders.
Hey, Taka? Do you think Game Champ is coming back to get us?
No, I do not.
Well, it's too bad we're stuck here because I really have to get back to youtube.com/WarioFan63 so I can make more episodes of Nin Chronicles, the show where I cover Nintendo's entire game library.
And I want to get back to making content on twitch.tv/Takara Takedown, which is my channel.
Do you want to tell the folks at home what you do?
No.
Special thanks to all Patreon backers, including Anon42, Leslam, Lively Leader, Alex Nelson, Vincent Hall, Salty Sweet, Nevermind, I Can't Come Up With Something Better, Game Champ Says Trans Rights Are Human Rights, Crustacean Creep, Evil Game Champ is like Bad Evening Nobody, and Unwelcome Forward to WH Facts, the offline on-paper board game movie. Nathaniel Kalita, Jor, Brickface says, you think changing the vocal tier can stop my love and support? Arcombe, slowest game of chess black, Waiting on White, Now I Only Want to Triumph, 8-Bit Mischievous, Attempted Wholesomeness, Literal Cat Mint Leaf Winged Cat Girl is gay and doesn't go to bed on time, Reblog if you too are gay and or don't go to bed on time, Plesiosaurs may have given live birth to well-developed babies and were attentive parents who lived in pods. Midway upon the journey of our life, I found myself within a forest arc, for the straightforward pathway had been lost. This is your reminder to take regular breaks when reading long lists of names. Doodlesack 12, Trish Chandler. Objections, words of wisdom for this week: you save your game, you save your life. F. Amadon, Quiet Mischievous, Darknet, frequently a doofus, occasionally an idiot, always a fool. Brisky, Lemon Planter, Ian Beck, Biohazard. Hey, is anyone missing an underscore? I found one under the rug. Fluff System, Chris Kuzlin, Chloe Surratt, Rasparrow, Sophia has transgender, Sorio99, Cody Merchant, Kirito9979, Madison, Asi, Oi Oi Oi, Touchstone Banana Phone, Landfair, Wulganidal, Gogoreed, Sharanch, Rob, Willian, Cilio, Goach. Kaiser says to please take care of yourself in these trying times. Everyone's favorite clan, Ghost Bear McWarrior, Freya. Moomin Biscuit, Trans Rights to Human Rights, Fella. Ken of Red Lions, a shape-shifting mass of cinders and ashes. Morgan, Duna, Nix, Getsugaru. Love Story Gaming, TTV, Frilly Lily, Celica. Straight all up in my business. Ray Danger, Kelzini, Awesome Games. Flame Solus, Macaroni Cat personally endorses running away like a little sissy baby. Harry Stoll, Autistic Yu-Gi-Oh. Neo Sandman 4040, Loudike was a huge stickler for the rules. Good man, but not that fun to be around sometimes. Hailerin, Jinx Shadow. Random Internet Cat is a random cat on the internet and should not under any circumstances be trusted to do non-cat things. Kimberly, the Gaming Bee, OMG Senpai, Notice Me. Daybreak, the Auroran Ampharos. Brith Day, Oct 25th. Woo! Eric Williams. Nicole, the Gamer Girl and Gamer Girl. Transient Faye, Tourbit, Zach Crowder, Gaming Medic. Queen Kenda, Zeta is pretty invalid. Zentil, Joshua Bennett, Lonely Agent J, Al Bruna. X Arcade, Amity Blight. My favorite Ace Attorney character is Dezibulchantuchinchukamo. Mine Planet 84, the One Free Skeleton, Halo Lucky, Captain Skelly, Grivel, Valkyrie Kanan, Skullduggery Pleasant, Starfish at Large, Idramian, Ella. Nobody can block the Emerald Splash, excluding of course the multitudinous number of people who have shown that they can. Nero, Shadow Fox 0002, Johnny Von Tungle. CK the Penguin supports Miss Champ and states that trans rights to human rights. Eden Osp, no one can pronounce my name right. Undersea Rexy VT, Malachi Atkinson, Wayne Monot, Tim Tam Toe Jam, Skybound Yuri, Stop Sign EX, Alexander Soria, Corporal High, Detective Geo, Zytra, but this time I'm making you remember how you pronounced it last time. No easy mode this time. The Arushale Table Building Society, Cassie, Aoi Tachibano just wants to let everyone know thigh highs are really comfy and everyone should wear them. Rakuna, your number one fan. 3000 Bees says I hope you were kind to yourself today. Smelly Melly, Quagsire is the best Pokemon. This is not a patron name, this is me, GamerChamp 3000, genuinely stating the truth. Osoman 9001 sings worse than a piranha plant. Assorted Fruits, Winnie Bagel, Emma Not Emma. All of the names on the right side of GameChamp's screen. Eris, Derpaven, Blair, the underscore Pokemon underscore 52, pronouncing the underscores is very important to me. A Warlock of unimaginable power. Paul Morton, Alizard, Pumaloaf, the Loafing Puma, Georgie Liubinoff, Squid Gazette. Word fact, February has the letter R in the middle. Omega, Tony Conj, Nyako, Fake Toku Fan. Jetstream Jackie wants you to know that her cat Goggles is both fluffy and gay. Remilia Samoris. Amber like the resin, but without mosquitoes, please. Annabeth, Merp78, K, Bluebee, Do for My Hoblet, Lucy Gracer, Lurker Below, Saint Lesbian in Silly World, Nighty Night Time, and Lodestar. Let me know how much this video sucks and how my channel went downhill after I started playing video games with my hands in the comments below. Apologies to my former friends for forgetting to bring them lattes, and get out of my house.
Ah, jeez, I don't think I can stand like this for much longer. I gotta stretch my legs.
Wario fan, be careful!
Ah. Ah.
Here's a big one.